Hello and welcome to the album man, and I thought I'd take a bit of time to talk about Rattle That Lock by David Gilmour, the latest single from him. It's certainly been a long time since we've heard anything solo from Gilmour. I think it was 2006's very meditative, calming and quite boring On an Island that we really had anything from David Gilmour solo. And of course in 2014 we had Pink Floyd's The Endless River, which I was not overly impressed with. I definitely see it as a weaker element in the Pink Floyd discography and not signed too great. I mean, the problem is with Gilmour, quite frankly, since, well, for a very long time, certainly since a momentary lapse of reason, I suppose, his songwriting has been far too reserved, far too laid back and just kind of dull. And it's like, yeah, it's chill and it's got a pleasant vibe to it, but it hasn't really had anything about it. So I was interested to hear this new single to see if it would be another sort of noodling, bland affair from Gilmour, or whether he'd spice it up. And he certainly has attempted to spice it up. This song is, weirdly enough, it's based on a 4-note jingle before railway announcers announce stuff in France on rail services, which is odd. And that's the sort of little jingle in the beginning, which Gilmour calls it on his iPhone. And it's a very odd 4-note thing to make a song out of, but I suppose it fits in with the old Pink Floyd themes of using kind of everyday things, like you had the abandoned household objects suite and that type of thing. So I suppose it's kind of Pink Floyd. And here the lyrics are written by Polly Sampson, David Gilmour's wife, and based on John Milton's epic story Paradise Lost. And this song is definitely quite a bit different to what we really heard on The Endless River and On an Island. It's quite upbeat, and in fact it's very dancey. It's clearly a song that is made to dance to, and that's very clear with the strong beat, the backbone through the song, and this dominant bass line going throughout, far more than you'd usually get. And it's definitely something you could shake your hips to. It has a bit of a groove to it. Gilmour's guitar soars as you'd expect in his wailing fashion. Nothing particularly different. It's fairly standard Gilmour fare on guitar. Vocally, he definitely sounds a bit thinner and a bit raspier than we'd had previously on Our Island. I mean, it's just because he's older, I suppose, but I think you can tell his age a bit more here than we have been able to before. But ultimately his performance certainly has a lot more force than we've heard recently, and the use of the gospel choir in the chorus certainly helps lift and add depth to that core melody. And it may sound like I'm praising the song for finally being upbeat and moving away from what I was not too big on an Island, but in reality I'm actually not very impressed with this song. Even with that going on, I still found it rather flat. To me, it just sounded like and I hate to say it, but a generic kind of dad rock song. It's sort of very safe and comfortable, and an analogy I've used before for this type of thing, and I think I also used with The Endless River, and it's very apt here, is just like, you know, going to a warm blanket, and it feels safe and secure, and there's nothing risky about this. There's nothing very interesting going on musically. It's just very standard Gilmour fare, but with a little bit of a dancier beat to it. And it's weird because I so wanted Gilmour to do something more upbeat instead of the zen, zoned out stuff he's been doing, and then he does it, and it's like, well, I didn't quite mean that, I suppose. I still hope for the rest of the album and hope there's something, it's okay. I'm not too hopeful. It's hardly one of the most anticipated releases of the year, because as far as I'm concerned, the beauty of Pink Floyd, you know, it's the dynamic and the yin and the yang between the dominant creative forces of Gilmour and Waters balancing each other out, and without each other, neither of them are, to be honest, that great. Pros and cons of hitchhiking is hardly a classic, and neither is On an Island. You need them together. But of course that ain't gonna happen, so I suppose we have to deal with the best we've got, which is going to be probably a lot of Zen songs with Gilmour noodling. Though if this song's anything to go by, at least we'll have something a bit more upbeat to work with, but overall it felt very flat for me, this song, and I was rather disappointed. So I'd be interested to know what other people thought of Rattle That Lock by Gilmour. Maybe you really enjoyed this very slight turn of pace and style by Gilmour, or maybe you're like me and you're just a bit worn out by this type of thing that Gilmour's doing and wish he'd do something a bit more experimental or more Floyd-like, I suppose, instead of the super safe old guys rock that he seems to be coming out with. So this has been TheAIbumMan. Thanks for watching, comment, subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.